Hello, Renee Flamond here. Ooh, Minnie popped up as soon as I said that. Hi, sweetheart. You guys, there are a lot of new people that come into this channel all the time, and I wanted to make this video to remind them, to tell them and remind all of us, the narcissists with the gaslighting, they'll do it forever and always and 24 hours a day if you allow them to. And I'm going to explain. It has to do with the lengths through which a narcissist will go not to be found out. And as we know, these lengths are beyond anything else they put effort towards. They do not want to be found out. And part of what they do, a huge part, is flat out deny, furthermore make you think you're insane for even thinking what you in fact found out. And listen to that. You found it out. Meaning not paranoia, not wondering, not inquiring. You found something. No matter what you say, no matter what you show them, no matter what you tell them, who else tells them, you might have a witness that comes and tells them with you, they will absolutely ask if you are crazy or indicate that you are. Of course, they'll also try to get you off the subject, digress, all that, of course, absolutely. But it'll sound something like this. You have got to be nuts. Are you on something? Did you stop taking your meds? Is that not a good one? Guess what? I don't even take meds. You're psychotic. And that's the meds they're referring to. They're trying to make a dig. Like, you're a psychotic, crazy person who needs medication. And what are you, off your medication? Like, it's a dig. It's a huge dig. How about this one? I can't believe you don't believe me. After everything we've been through, don't you trust me? Okay, but I found this. And these are the comments that they're not going to answer to this. It was nothing. God. Or they'll say, I've been doing this my whole life. I don't want to be this way. I can't, change overnight. I love you so much. I want to change for you. It was nothing. It meant nothing. If you finally get them to answer to it. That's what they'll say. And then you'll say, but this bothers me. Are you crazy? They go right back to it. Are you crazy? You don't know how much I love you? I've not shown you how much I love you after everything we've been through. And then the next week, by the way, when you distrust them and ask a question, are you out of your mind? What, are we going to live like this now? I have to worry about you? Are you crazy? You think I would do that again to you? Are you out of your mind to think I would do that again to you? But the most that they will do is deny with the crazy. You're insane. You're psychotic. They'll just keep calling you those names. And they'll actually... the last couple in particular really amuse me. I can't believe you don't believe me, and after everything we've been through, you don't trust me. They amuse me. They actually try to sell you in the moment that you should believe them. It's hilarious, and we do. Well, I'd like to say none of us ever do. So we can all be easy on ourselves. I bet collectively, every single person would say that after even incident 0, infraction 1, first disaster date, whatever you want to call it, after that first one, we might have trusted right up until then. Which I smelled trouble with mine, but I went in anyway. But you might have trusted completely 100% up until then. But after that, every single one of us would line up and say, no, there's something in you that knows something is off. So they try to sell you and they want that you believe them. And then our behavior, no matter what we're feeling inside, shows them that we do believe them because we stay. And we say words like, I'd love to work it out, I'm just hurt. No, we'll get back to where we were, because of course they're worried that you're not going to look at them the same way again. You can't. It's impossible to look at them the same way again, and it's impossible to believe every word that they say. But we do go back and forth a lot, so we're trying, and that's showing them that they at least have a hook in us, that what they're doing is working, that maybe you're trusting them again and believing in them, and then they're going to go out and do something else. And, you know, they want you to believe and trust them even though they've given you no reason to do either one. All while telling you you're crazy for asking or believing anything that you know has happened, and they refuse to talk about it. And you know, they give us every reason repeatedly not to believe or trust them. Every reason in the world. And like I said, I think any one of us would say that you didn't really wholeheartedly trust them once you were betrayed. I think it's impossible to do that. We try, we work it out, we stay. We have a lot of back and forth. But I don't think that we fall for it inside, which is why it chips away at our insides every time we go back. They will gaslight you forever. And the part about the gaslighting for me that bothers me, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it comes from a movie in the 40s with Ingrid Bergman, and it's called Gaslighting. Gaslighting. And the man makes her think she's crazy, makes her think she's insane. Okay? And I suppose it's the gall of the gaslighting, the Humphreys, the cojones, pardon me, right? I don't want to say the vernacular we use, but that's what the gall it takes to serve up this big plate of gaslighting. It just bugs me the most. So you committed the infraction, you lied, you're continuing to lie, I found out some truths, you won't address them, you keep digressing, you're making me think I'm nuts for even thinking it, but you're going about your business anyway, looking me straight in the eye and telling me everything's normal, nothing's awry, nothing's going on, and I'm crazy to think that it is. How could you think I would do that to you? It might sound like that, it might sound romantic. You know I love you. How can you think I would ever betray what I have here? I value this more than anything in the whole world. Don't you know that? That's some fancy sounding language, but it's gaslighting. They're telling you, how dare you have a different thought when you know your truth that you just found out. So it bugs me to the nth degree because of its cruelty. What I look back on is how insane I got when he tried to call me insane. Now think that through. So I'm acting insane the more he called me that. And I'm proving to him his point. Talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now I look insane, so he can use that and say, see, you're insane. How about that? Oh, that's my favorite when that happens. And you know, I feel that's such a cruel thing to do because I spent hours and hours and hours upon days and weeks and months, and some of you years, arguing to prove that I wasn't what he says that I was, but I was looking that way while I was arguing and trying to prove it. Arguing to prove that I knew what I knew and saw what I saw. Experienced what I in fact experienced. And they just, in the face of all of those hours spent and all that effort spent, are never going to give you one thing. I think of the time that I could have saved myself. Because, and you know, this is not limited to partners. I was gaslighted by my peripheral narcissists in my life as well. They can definitely do that to you. Oh, you're so funny. You're so fun to be around. I love hanging out. Whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever it is. They love bomb you like that. And then that same person, like I'm talking about like a friend. You're so great. And then they betray you. And then you say, but did this happen? Are you out of your mind? What did we just talk about? How good of friends we are. What did we just say? We'd have each other's back. You think I would do that to you? Of course not. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry for bringing it up. I must have misunderstood. I've had these conversations with people who gaslighted me out of the truth, of the betrayal that was done to me. It can happen anywhere. And I just feel what an extra dose of cruelty. The infraction was bad enough, you lying is bad enough, but now you won't even fess up now, you're going to just tell me I'm crazy. And I want new people new to this disorder to understand what they all have in common, these narcissists, mine, yours, all of ours, is that they do not want to admit to any wrongdoing. So they'll say anything. And they won't take blame or responsibility for anything either. So the blame and responsibility has to go where? There's only two people here. It's got to go to you. So they try the route of making you challenge your own mind, memory, sight, hearing, intuition. And they will tell you things to challenge those things until the earth stops rotating. They're not going to stop, finally, the narcissist, and say, you know, you're right. They're not going to just, I'm sorry, from the bottom of, like, they might say those words. The narcissist isn't going to feel that way. They'll say anything. But the narcissist is never going to go, she's right. No, they're entitled to behave the way that they want. They're going to do whatever they have to do to get out of it and be able to continue behaving that way. They don't come to their senses with all of the yelling and the crying and the screaming that I did. What was I thinking? I thought he was going to, wake up and, see? I thought he was going to wake up and see! Wake up and see, oh my God. Oh my God, I think back of that. I'm astonished. And what ends up happening is you're the one who is sick and paranoid and thinks they're delusional and crazy for even thinking these things. They do end up convincing you half the time. And what I find astonishing is that they, I think, actually believe that they're convincing us. We are, indeed, crazy. Because it happens. Sometimes they're successful in this endeavor, and we are left questioning if we are crazy or just paranoid. How many times that's generally how it comes to us. We then say, well, am I just paranoid? Am I just paranoid? Am I being paranoid? When you're betrayed, it's very hard to just not wonder and question and poke around in the other's business. I don't mean pick up their phone, but maybe if that's what it is. I saw that on a talk show once. I think it was Dr. Phil. And it was a cheating couple. I don't watch a lot of those, but I catch clips. And I think it was Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil said to the guy, I think it was the guy, he said, I don't care if she needs to go through your phone for 6 months, bud. You did what you did. She can go through it for the rest of your life. It's the price you paid for betraying her. And I love that he said that out loud. Because they make us feel nuts for that. Maybe before that show, the husband was like, you have to go through my phone? You don't trust me? Dr. Phil's like, yeah, you know what? Of course she doesn't, you Nimrod. Not that he said that. They will call you gaslighting, not just during the fight, all day long and forever. The next time the fight comes up, in behaviors you have after the fight. What are you, crazy? You gotta go through my phone now? You're psychotic. You're nuts to think I would do that again. I learned my lesson, say he was really caught red-handed. You're nuts to think. They're doing it now while they're saying it. They just cleaned their phone before they handed it to you. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. And after, they have a built-in layer of helping their cause, like a little helper, to aid their cause. And the built-in layer that helps them is, we do not want to be right about what we found out. We're ripe for the gaslighting. We don't want to think it's true. We're hoping we confront them. We're hoping they have something to say. We're hoping they can make sense of what we just heard, saw, read, found. We don't want to be right. We just don't. It's the area where we find ourselves hoping that what we just found out has some logical explanation that we are wrong. So we give it a shot, and they talk, and we talk, and they tell us we're nuts for even thinking it. If nothing else he can possibly come out with makes sense of anything, we're desperate for it to make sense. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm paranoid. Okay, I believe. Okay, it's not what you, okay, all right, I understand. Otherwise, we wouldn't be giving them a chance to even speak if we weren't hopeful that we receive something that helps us deal with it. We're hoping they're coming up with something that makes us make sense of this horrific thing that they did to us. When they can't come up with something that makes it make sense, they're going to revert to telling you you're nuts for thinking it and get out of it that way. Some women just believe the lie in the beginning and maybe they're not gaslighted. Oh, she was a co-worker and we were working on the brief, and then we were hungry, so we went across the street. And when we bumped into Mr. and Mrs. Johnson from the neighborhood, yeah, there was wine on the table, but you know what? We were celebrating a big deal we had that day. It was nothing. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson said that you were sitting on the same side of the booth and that you looked a little cozy. Yeah, well, maybe they didn't see it, but I had my phone open and we were going over the briefs from that day. So she was sitting really close because maybe they didn't see my phone, but she could see it and we were going over notes. They'll gaslight you in any way, shape, or form throughout every inch of the process. And I want you to listen and look for it. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not insane. I'm sorry, you're not. And if you find your behavior escalating, screaming, I'm not insane. Like, I must have looked crazier than any loon ever with how tempestuous I got. I can't even imagine what I must have looked like. The times that I've repeated that behavior too. Screaming to a narcissist to try to make him understand that I'm not insane. You know what I mean? Like, I could, now I don't even get to that point, but now I still have peripheral narcissists in my life, and I can tell you how I'm treating them is not at all like that. I don't let it get my dander up anymore. I don't engage. And I've had one person in particular been trying to pick a fight with me for a year. I recognize it now, and I won't bite. I won't. And if I talk to that narcissist, because I think this person is a narcissist, I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose people. But you can tell from a mile away if you've read as much as we all have and seen, you can kind of feel it out and understand, right? I can tell you if I was speaking to this person, if I actually sat them down and they said, well, you know, I don't hear from you much anymore, or whatever, I would, and if I tried to explain to them the list of things that have hurt my feelings or whatever, they would say things like, I don't even remember saying that. Is that all you're mad at? Oh my God, Renee, get a grip. I don't believe you. That's not what I said. You have to be remembering that incorrectly. That didn't happen. I would never say that. It's gaslighting. You know what happened. I'm keeping a list. I have things in writing. I write things down. So my memories are not what they used to be. None of us. I mean, you get older, you know what I mean? I write things down. And everyone I know knows that I write things down. I keep a daily planner. You guys know I've referred to them with you. Here's this year's. This year's is small. You guys know I've kept these 30 years. So I write things down. I make lists. Not because I'm trying to be like a lawyer to someone, but if somebody's hurting me, infraction, I decided to make a list because I thought I didn't want to forget the list. Am I going to use the list? No. But it's in my own head. I look at it and I marvel that someone can impose that many hurtful things upon someone. And then if you were to bring it up to them, they would deny them. Tell you you're nuts for thinking it. It's gaslighting. Please watch out for it. I don't want you getting all concerned that you are paranoid or having them get away with making you start to actually turn the tables and think that you are nuts. It's very cruel behavior. It's part of the cycle. Welcome to the world of narcissistic personality disorder. It's a very cruel behavior, though, and I worry about people. Because you take somebody who's maybe, I don't know, maybe not in the greatest state of mind. They're very fragile. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they had a death in their own family. Maybe they are struggling through life and somebody tells them they're crazy. That could really ill affect someone. If somebody constantly tells you that, some of our warriors in this audience have been in these relationships 40, 30, 20 years. Can you imagine being gaslighted for 20, 30, or 40 years? You hear you're crazy and insane for that long? Do you end up feeling out of sorts? I would imagine that has an ill effect on someone. Another topic with which I get away from myself, because the more I think about these things, it just drives me crazy that they can be so cruel. And I want to try to save you from it. So please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share. Chin up, you're fabulous. I will see you next time.